up? What's up, guys? I got my boys here with me. I got Drew and Jordan, and this is episode 2.
Episode
Happy
2.
Friday.
I'm getting a little bit of back feed
I am
here.
too.
Yeah, I wonder where that came from. It's gone now.
It's gone
We're
now.
good. Hey, what would it be with it? We're like the first 10 we get a mulligan, right? So
Well, I was going to say first 5. I'll be a little bit more aggressive with it. I had some technical difficulties getting set up today too. I was trying to use a new web camera. It did not work. So I reverted back. So we'll get 5 tries, and then I think we'll be in good shape.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we got the first one out. What's up, Drew?
We don't have a Joe Rogan budget, right? So you have to take it in when you're doing this.
We don't. But we've got the effort, right? Attitude and aptitude is what you say. We got the attitude and the aptitude. We're trying. We're going to get it. So thank everybody that joined us on the first one. When you go back and watch your first episode, you realize, man, we should have probably done this different. So we really need to introduce the podcast. So this is the Zion Experience, TZE, episode 2. Jordan and I are traditionally your hosts. We got our boy Drew here, who's one of the co-founders, EVP of Zion. Glad to have him. We call him the big guy. He's the big guy back here in the picture. So I'm pumped about today. I don't know about you all. I've been on the road for the last couple of weeks, back in the office this week. Had about 1,000 emails to get through, it felt like. Gave up about Wednesday afternoon and said some of them are going to have to wait. A lot of customer conversations. Been at 2 trade shows 2 weeks prior. One was Elevate with Corber Supply Chain Solutions in Orlando. I went solo there because we had a little go live, had some other stuff going on for the guys here. And then last week we were in Chicago for ProMat. And let me tell you all, so am I official because I got show notes today? Is it that work? It's probably off. We try not to script this, so none of it's real scripted. We have a little outline today for episode 2 because we're going to hit ProMat Recap. We've got a couple special guests from one of our partners at HAI Robotics. We got 2 guys coming on. I'll intro them. We're going to add them to the show in just a little bit. But today's all about ProMat 2023, and I'm pumped. So ProMat stats. You boys are hearing this for the first time too, I think. It's the first show in 4 years because of our friend COVID. So the first show since 2019, there were 50,000 plus attendees. That's up 12%. Largest show for ProMat that MHI has ever had. There were 178 countries represented, 1,051 exhibitors, 562,000, so over 500,000 square feet of exhibited solutions, 150 educational sessions, and there was 1.2 million square feet that was used at the Chicago McCormick Center. McCormick Place. Sorry. So we were there. We landed Monday. We had a great show, I thought. We didn't exhibit this year. Don't know if we'll exhibit. We've talked about between Modex and ProMat. We went out to several dinner and breakfast events with our clients and our partners, and just, yeah, guys. So you all heard the stats. What do you think about that?
Well, it was just a busy show, right? I mean, if you remember, it was Automate that was across the hall, and it was automated this year, different levels of automation, but a lot of robotics. It was just really good. I mean, you're going to hear this a lot, but to get out and see people. I mean, we've been seeing people, but it's an opportunity to hook up with people you might see once or twice a year or talk to every now and then. So, my first day there was Tuesday. Got there Monday, went to the show Tuesday, and Tuesday seemed to be a busy day. So, and you know how it is. You got an agenda, you got a schedule, you're trying to hit some different booths. You make it down one aisle, and then you run into somebody and then that makes you go look at something else. So Wednesday was my day that I got to get around and see the show in entirety. Had some sore feet, some sore backs. I was going around with one of our other co-founders, Chuck. Chuck had to take a couple little breaks here and there. The back was hurting him, the feet were hurting him. So he could tell you where every bench was located within the McCormick Place trade show. He took advantage, but overall, it was just a really good show. Excited to talk about it today and some of the things that we saw that maybe we knew of, first time seeing, or maybe we didn't know of. But overall, just a great show.
I was at the customer all day Tuesday, and I think we covered 1.2 million square feet 4 times. So I, like Chuck, was dead by the end of it. I'm not built to walk 1.2 million square feet 4 times. that nature didn't treat me that way, but it was a really great show. The best part for me was walking down an aisle, seeing somebody from 30 feet away. Because this year it was more spread out, right? You weren't so shoulder to shoulder that you couldn't move. Having it on both sides of McCormick was nice because there's actually space in the aisles to walk. So you could actually see people coming. And, 6'4", 350, people definitely knew it was me walking down, and running up, and it just felt good to see people, being together like that.
Let's talk about that a little. So we call Drew the big guy just because that's what he calls himself, but Drew is a big guy, 6'4". What are you? You say
about 350, about 3.5
pounds. What Tuesday was it? Tuesday and Wednesday both about lunchtime, 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, 1:30. Yeah.
Was that what it was? Drew had to
You
go back.
Tuesday, so you have no idea about Tuesday. Wednesday about 1 o'clock, I was done. Wrapped, ready to get some work done, get off the floor. Tuesday, I had in there until about 4 o'clock.
He had to go get some work done, and I bet that he went back and took him a little afternoon.
I did on Tuesday.
Siesta at the hotel.
We saw one email come out on Wednesday, so that he could talk about him being, productive and working. And it was a lengthy email, and that was about 1:42. And then after that, it got a little quiet. So, make your own assumptions. Right.
Man, it is a long day, but
yeah, it is.
Full transparency. See, we had to volunteer to do things. I volunteered to be the first at dinner Tuesday night, so I could go back, do a little work. Got done at 5 and said, "Hey, I've got an hour." I absolutely took a 30-minute nap, and I showered, and I felt great for dinner. I'm like everybody else. So.
It's all good because it is. You hit it, Jordan. I mean, absolutely. It was the year of the robotics and automation. I mean, it's no longer. It's all in one. If you didn't see automation, you didn't see robotics, and that's what the show was. It was coming out. Drew, I think you had a little video with one of our partners, Made for Net, and you just said, "Man, it's good to see everybody, and it's good to see not only the big logos, but the smaller companies and get a touch and feel and see their technology and walk." We had several customers with us. We got to walk and show them because people still like to see it. And then the relationship aspect, it was good to go see people you hadn't seen for a while. They're excited to hear about Zion, what we're doing, meet us in person for the first time. And we even got some shout outs for our podcast. So we were pretty pumped about that. Well, let's not delay it too long. Yeah.
Real quick, just so you know, you were famous. Like 4 or 5 people. "Hey, is Jimmy here? I watched the podcast. Has Jimmy lost 50 pounds?" Like, it was quite the conversation over 2 days.
Yeah.
Your LinkedIn presence is far-reaching, sir.
Yeah, that's what I had several people that met me for the first time over LinkedIn, and I'm like, yeah, if I'm bugging you, just unfollow me. You won't hurt my feelings, but the feedback's overwhelming. They like what Zion's doing. They like the partners and what our partners are doing, our people are doing, and then they like what the brand's doing. So we're excited about it. We're glad to share this. So today, again, I go back. We're going to bring on our guest. We'll go ahead and bring them on if you want. Jacob's in the background. He's our tech guy. So we got a couple guests we're going to bring on. We're going to chop it up with them for a bit. Listen, we got some exciting news they get to share with everybody. So we're glad to have them. And then at the end, we're going to have a little time where the three of us, Drew, myself, and Jordan, all talk about what all the cool technology and automation that we saw that we think are going to solve some of the hardest problems in the supply chain right now. So looking forward to it. So without ado, let me introduce. I don't know how you all see it on your screen, but the guy in the red shirt, that's my guy. Chris threw his hand up, but that's Brian Reinhardt. So Brian, let me give a little background. We got to explain who Brian is. And so Brian's a VP of Sales, Marketing, and Solutions at HAI Robotics. Brian's been in the industry or around the industry for 20 plus years. 11 of that's been primarily in material handling, supply chain space. He is a converted engineer. So he's a mechanical engineer that went to the dark side of sales and had a lot of success at it. So he worked, I think you started out, Brian, at Voight. Maybe I said that wrong, power generation industry. And then you ended up, Brian and we actually competed. So one of our first conversations with Brian last year when he was at HAI and we had started Zion was like, we used to compete. Is everything okay there? Because he was at Bastion Material Handling, had a lot of success there. Good guy, mechanical engineer, living in Louisville now. So glad to have you. And then the other individual you see is Mr. Smith, Chris Smith. So Chris is the VP of Project Delivery for HAI Robotics in North America. And Chris has been in the industry 23 plus years, if I got it right, Chris. And he's served multiple roles, been in, you name the vertical, Chris has touched it and seen it. He's got like a who's who of list of who he's worked with. So I think prior to HAI, if I can speak, is he was at KPI for a while, and he was at DCS for a while. You were at Swisslog and Vanderlande for a while, and then a couple little places before that. And then one of the cool stories about you that I remember when we first met was you went out and you became an associate at Amazon for a brief stint. So you could see, we call that concrete walkers. So I can't coin it. I can't say I had it, but I grew up on the concrete at UPS and working out amongst the employees and doing the work. And as an engineer, I learned a whole lot that way. So you took a certain period of time and did that at Amazon just to increase your knowledge and subject matter expertise. So I remember that from one of our first conversations. But enough with introductions. Let's roll. We got a little bit of a script here in terms of just so the guys so we don't get on here and look at each other and go down rabbit holes. Is I wanted to give HAI the opportunity. They had some exciting news, but first was just, hey, some people may not know HAI Robotics yet. So you got your elevator speech, whichever one of y'all wants to throw it, Joe, and then just talk about some of the exciting stuff that you had happen out of ProMat. And thanks for being here.
Well, no, thanks for having us, fellas. The biggest takeaway of this is I've got to improve my background. Whether it's I've got all my sports stuff on that wall. We got the degrees and like some photos on that wall, and all you see is a plain AC unit and windows. So clearly, I need to.
You got a little treadmill or something behind there too. What's that? You got a little
elliptical. How do I get out of the way? Yeah, I often take calls on that thing. So if you kind of hear a chugging in the background, that's how we try to keep it, a little bit in shape. But no, we really appreciate, taking the time to meet with us too. It was a lot of fun for us. It's a really exciting time in the company coming out of ProMat. So there's a lot of really cool things to talk about. As you mentioned, if anyone out there, any of your listeners are unfamiliar with HAI Robotics, the 30-second kind of speech is that we're an autonomous case handling robotics manufacturer. We're multinational, founded in China in 2015. We started our U.S. operations in 2021. Since then, we've grown to over 50 people domestically with a full suite of operations, everything from BD to marketing, sales engineering, software, project management, site supervision, service support, and maintenance. So, over the last few years, what we've really been trying to do is build a U.S. company for U.S. companies. I think our technology is really on the cutting edge of what you're seeing in the space, and we'll get into a little bit of that, down the line. But what we're trying to do is really combine all of the major pain points in the industry, density, speed, and add a new element of flexibility that I think really hasn't been seen. And so that's kind of who we are and what we're about. We're excited for this partnership. I'll say that, Jimmy, you talked a lot about, how much fun you guys are having at Zion, the feedback that you've gotten from the market on kind of your general approach. And I think it aligns with us, right? We want to be a partner-focused, kind of ethical, transparent company that really grows as our partners and customers grow. And so the fit's been outstanding, and, we're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, which one of you all wants to brag on HAI and what happened? And
yeah, when it comes to bragging, I have to take that one. So when Chris and I were looking at the agenda points, I was like, let me do the fun ones, and you can talk about kind of our roadmap and the techie stuff, right? That's kind of what we do. I'm the mouth, he's the brain. But, obviously the show was big for us with the award. We won the Best Innovation of an Existing Product award. My family's been asking me, what does it mean? I was like, well, we won an Oscar, but there's not 30 Oscars. There's only 4. And I'm competing with actors that have been around for 100 years. And this is our first movie. So that was kind of the metaphor I made. But the A42T, it's basically the telescopic version of our bot. And so our bots are mobile, autonomous order fulfillment technology at the simplest level. But what the new innovation was being able to pick from 10 meters or 32 feet high. And so this is the first technology that can pick from that height without the pick engine being captive or guided. And what that means is you've seen shuttles and ASRSs go 30, 100 feet high for some of those pallet cranes. but the retrieval and storage technology is captive to the storage mechanism. It's either on a rail or a guide system of some sort. Our bots are completely mobile, meaning every bot has access to every product, has access to every operator. And so that height with that flexibility and mobility was previously unseen. And it was really rewarding to see MHI kind of recognize and acknowledge that. We've been preaching to the market now for a year or two that, hey, this is different. This is something special. And, a lot of companies say that, though. And there are advantages to all the new tech coming out. But we feel that ours is truly revolutionary. And so getting a third-party neutral evaluation from a long-standing, well-thought-of organization like MHI, just to be a finalist was out. I considered it a win from day one. But to ultimately win and beat out well-known companies like Vonderlande, Geek Plus, OPEX, that was truly special for us.
Yeah, man, it was, and you brought up, so day one, we're there Monday. I'm walking around. We meet up with you for the first time, and you show like you don't think about it till you look at it, but going 32, 33 feet in the air, and the floor at the trade show was not perfect. It had a little bit of a slope, and you took me back and showed me, and just the coolest thing is that little micro adjustment that it made at the very top shelf where it was doing a retrieval. It just shows off the technology, because other people are trying to solve that problem, because there's several that I don't want to call them copycat, but the hardware is the hardware. Your secret sauce is how do you apply it, but they haven't figured that component out of the hardware, and HAI has. And it was, man, I sit there and watched it and videoed it, and I talked about it multiple times, showed customers that, and congratulations on your award. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was funny. I got a call from a couple people on Chris's team the Friday before the show. And they said, Brian, this floor is not flat. The bot's leaning. What do we do? And I was like, well, can we pick? And they said, yeah, we haven't had a mispick yet. And so what's the problem, guys? I was like, that's perfect. I was like, that we couldn't have drawn it up any better. It shows the versatility. And you're right. Anyone can put a mast on an AGV. That's not the complex portion of this. The make it work element, the brain of the system, the micro functions in it are, truly, I think, what sets us apart. And you couldn't have asked for a better kind of lucky mistake, if you will, so that we could show off the true nuance and accuracy of the bot.
Yeah. Especially considering most of your competition is going to have precision floor requirements that are extreme, right?
Yeah.
And so I'd say right now, I was with the customer all day Tuesday. You saw him, I think we saw him at the booth 7 different times. And the first time we walked around the kind of competition that was next door, I won't name names, he was like, wow. He started taking pictures. Like, I'm getting that. I'm putting that in my site. So that was exciting to see.
Yeah, coming from integration, I've done shuttles, I've done grid-based systems. I think I've integrated 9 or 10 different goods to person or ASRS manufacturers. And, the floor requirements, the rigidity of the technology, it's just always a hurdle. And the market seems okay with that hurdle. But I always thought, well, if we can just mature the technology and remove it, wouldn't that be so much better for everybody? And so am I going to say the problem's 100% solved? No, right? You can't put it in the middle of the moon with craters everywhere. But not having to pour a slab, removing the grinding and the leveling of floors, we're happy to be someone on the front edge of that.
Yeah, I think you told me, Brian, because I asked you. I was like, why? This industry's big, but it's small. Most people either know of or know others in the industry that are having success and working, in different places. And we certainly knew each other. I don't know if we'd ever really sit down and chopped it up like this, but you said last week, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you basically said you wanted to be part of something unique and different and a technology that could truly make an impact. And this was just validation of it or something. I paraphrase that. So tell how did you say it? You're the sales guy. I'm still just an old engineer. Doesn't have the mouthpiece.
Validation is the right word, right?
That's it.
Any talented salesperson, excuse me, I got a bit of like the ProMat flu, I think. I'm still recovering from last week.
Careful there, right? Be cautious with that one.
That's right. Any
should have taken a nap like the big guy during Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. I was on the floor for 10 hours. I didn't get the little afternoon snoozles like Drew did.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but any talented marketing person or salesperson could put a positive spin on a technology. You can polish anything, and you can leverage relationships to get buy-in and customers. And when my previous company started taking off, a lot of us leaders were getting approached by different techs and different companies, and I really never had any interest. And so it wasn't until HAI came along and I saw the tech, and it just jumped off the page at me. And so the more I learned, that's ultimately why I decided to bet my career on it. And so you spend every single day. I'm on calls and meetings talking about the tech, talking about the engineering and the data. And I've convinced myself, and I've convinced my team, and a lot of our partners have been convinced. But we're still new to the market. We've only been here for about a year and a half. And so that education,
in the
that
States,
comfortability.
Right. Overseas, you also,
Yeah.
what, 4,000 or 5,000 units robots? I mean, you all sold as many as maybe one of your competitors, and
there's
more. So
500 sites, 5,000 robots, but with the majority of them being in either Europe and the Asian Pacific market, there's a distance there that still creates an uncomfortability in the US. And so my job is to speed that comfort along, right? Get people on board, really get them familiar with the tech, and again, get it validated as quickly as possible. And so, having someone MHI with no agenda, if anything, they would have an allegiance to a lot of the other companies. They've spent a whole lot more with MHI than I have. But at the end of the day, I think the tech spoke for itself, and that award really validates everything that we've said. It validates the decisions that I've made, the time and sweat Chris and I are putting into this company, in this tech, and it was just very rewarding.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, congrats. Yeah.
Yeah, congrats on that. And I was just going to say, I know we just talked through the A42T, the telescopic version of what you guys presented, but there was a lot of other things to see within the booth, right? I mean, I think one of the bigger things, and on Wednesday, the last day we were there, it was 5:00, the show's closing, we're tired, and there was one thing in the booth that kind of caught our attention, because you got to see it in person to understand it. That's the tote size that you guys offer. So it's not a single size tote. There's multiple totes. You can add on camera options to be able to pick both cases and totes off of racking. You guys can work with existing racking because of your versatility. But one of the things we did on Wednesday is you guys sell a tote that I think's 850 or 800 by 600 millimeters, and then you have a size larger than that as well. But just to show the size of it, we wanted to take a picture. So Jimmy found himself worn out on Wednesday, walking back to your booth, took his boots off that he likes to wear everywhere, put them inside the tote so that we had a reference point to the size of that tote, because it's powerful. I mean, there's a lot of clients out there that have bigger, bulkier product, and they don't have, there's not a lot of technologies out there that offer the flexibility of different tote sizes and storage mediums. It could be a tote, it could be a case, like mentioned earlier. So I think that's right. We did.
Let me show you this. Pull the picture up with my boots in it and said, look how big this tote is.
So I think when you couple the versatility of not only the telescopic, but you can intermingle robots within the same footprint, right? So you can do your A42, which I think is your bread and butter, right? And your A42T to maximize not only efficiency, but cost. But I think it's important, with Chris being on here, and we had the rack that you guys installed at ProMat, just to talk through what you've seen from a delivery standpoint, an implementation standpoint, and how does it, in your experience, compare to some of those other technologies that we may have seen at the trade show or out in the industry?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So I think what you saw at ProMat was a testament to the team that we put together here and what they can do pretty quickly. We've been talking about feet hurting and back hurting. I think we had 12 to 16-hour days leading up from Wednesday up until the start of the show. And this group really put together this booth very, very quickly and very professionally. I think that's a testament to this group and what they can do. The floor wasn't quite what we needed. The equipment was put there pretty quickly, and we had to do what we had to do to get it done. But there's lots of different things we can do, and I think that's what you saw at ProMat, was our ability to do that, deliver it well. It's modular, right? So we can move things around as we see fit. If you want to expand the system, we can shift things left to right pretty quickly. You can expand the racking fairly quickly. You can expand the height, and we can replace the bots. There's so many things that we can do, and this team's really capable of doing that. And that's, for me personally, I was excited to see it and be a part of it. That's what I've seen through my career. Is this group is really a really good group.
I think from that
Yeah.
perspective, though, the rack's not special. There's requirements for the rack, but it's not high-end precision, paid 3 times the cost for 50 widgets rack, right? And you can see that you get that density without that precision rack. Be able to go up and actually touch it, see and feel it. That was impressive.
Yeah, and you'll see some things coming on our roadmap that will even increase the ability of these things to do that. So
there it is.
Yeah,
I asked Jacob Chris to show it real quick while you're talking. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah, you can see this thing goes up as high as you can see. I think a highlight from ProMat was the union guys on the floor. They would come over and just stop by the booth and say, "I've never seen anything so high," especially here at ProMat. And that was a notch in the cap there. That was a feather for us because we were surrounded by some competition of ours, but from across the floor, you could see that rack and you could see that robot going up, and that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean that's a cool look, right there with the telescope going up. You have your backpack there on the robot, but it's able to stay fairly static, right? While your telescopic is going up, grabbing the tote, bringing it back down, stationing on the robot. Because what you guys also had at ProMat fully functioning was your high ports, right? So I don't know, Brian, if you want to talk through your high ports and kind of how that separates you even further from some of the other competitors out there.
Yeah, and when I kind of do the elevator speech, right, I talk about the 3 pillars of problems that we're trying to solve. Density, I think we've hit that pretty hard with the 10-meter thing. Like if you can use all your vertical space, your storage per square foot is going to get really efficient. Flexibility, that one kind of speaks for itself with the lack of captivity and the mobility of the robots, the ease, as you mentioned, Drew, the simplicity in the racking and the tote design, the variable case and tote sizes we can handle. But the speed is a challenging element. A lot of technologies that have this type of flexibility, your AMR type technologies, which are really more pick assists, you still need a sizable operator pool to hit, very high or even medium rates. And then, the grid-based technologies that get that really strong density play, they still cap out 300-400 tote presentations per hour, even with the more modern workstations. So what we've done is really develop, invent, and deploy our own high-speed workstation. And that's what the high port is. And that's a speed play. And so what the high port does, it allows our robots to dock with it and then fluid load or unload anywhere between 6 to 8 totes at one time. Then using a 2-position vertical conveyor, it'll remove the totes from the storage position on the high port and dispense them rapidly to an operator. So with this kind of mechanization and function, you can get upwards of 600 tote presentations per hour to an operator. And that's not as fast as the speediest shuttles or workstations on the market, but it's close. And so that's always been our goal, right? We're not going to be the fastest technology, but we want to get close enough there, close enough in density that our flexibility and price points kind of take over and make it a no-brainer. And so the high port, that's something we've shown off now. We showed it at Modex last year, ProMat this year. And again, what was a compliment to me was I saw a lot of creative workstations out there from our competitors. They may not have looked the exact same, but when you get to kind of like, okay, that's a 2-access conveyor system that you're taking off of a storage medium and dispensing to an operator, like, okay, it's just a different looking high port. And so whenever that happens, it's a little frustrating, but you also have to take it as a compliment. And we certainly did.
Yeah.
I think what's more impressive than what you showed is what you don't show. Is you guys can do put walls, you can do single use, you can do double use. We'd have exit delivery to a line someplace else and have traffic coming back in. There's just so many different ways to do it. And I think for us, that's what the most exciting part about your tech is, all that flexibility around the system to hit certain rates depending on the customer needs and what they need to do. Well,
and that's why we love the partnership, right? We can extend beyond the pick a little bit, right? There's kind of a gray area, who owns what, who does what, but we're not integrators. We're robotic manufacturers. And so all of the upstream stuff to get product to the system, the downstream stuff to actually, pack, ship, get it out the door, that's not our area of expertise. And so a lot of people ask me, do you go direct? And our preferred model is through our partner network and through, our value-added premier partners like Zion, where we can put together collectively a turnkey solution, door to door, save you space, save you operators, keep it flexible and scalable. And that's kind of a true value prop that's leading the market.
Yeah, I to tag on, I know we're going to get to the roadmap later, but I think one of the things we haven't shown, I think you're going to be very surprised with when it comes out, is our flex width fork unit. So one of the things you'll see is there's nuances when you're putting something away with our fixed width forks. Then what happens is you kind of sometimes see a deviation in how they're put away just because of natural events, right? So there's also the need for different size totes, different size cases, different size things within the same rack footprint. And our flex width technology that's coming out allows us to not only accommodate any number size of totes on the same rack and with the same bot, but it also makes sure that we have a very good delivery of our totes so that they're always centered, they're always ready. So you're increasing efficiency, you're increasing availability. You're decreasing the cost because you're not having to have numerous bots within the same field. It's one bot that can do any number of things for us. And that's where Brian was talking about the flexibility of our product. We're adding more to that. That is on our roadmap, that is coming. So the US market's going to see it soon. So I think that's a pretty exciting piece of our flexibility that we'll offer here soon.
That's good. I think it's a good lead in. I told you all we'd get on here and just get talking, and you get away, right? Which is cool, man. This is all great.
We can rabbit hole with you guys for days.
It's all good. It's good. Well, let's roll in. I don't know which one of you all wants to take it, but did you all see anything? We called it highlights, learnings, general observations, takeaway. Did y'all see some cool tech that you saw that maybe is out on the market? And then is there anything under the covers? Is there any roadmap that y'all want to share today for HAI?
Well, let me tee it up for you here, if you don't mind, Chris, because one of the interesting things I saw, I thought was really, it's easy to see the cool stuff from a hardware perspective, but the number of companies that are really investing in the software, either as a standalone software company, your companies out there like an SVT, for instance, or even just integrators or manufacturers that are really trying to solve the software problem. I thought that was really interesting. Some of the things that I've been waiting for is kind of the business intelligence and the AI of more mature industries, whether it be manufacturing or medical. There's a lot of really smart software application going on in those. And I keep waiting for it to come to material handling and automation. And it is. And I think this year was kind of a step in the positive direction there. So, you have to talk to people. You have to really ask a lot of questions to fully understand, why is this software different? Because you can't just see it like you can a robot. But the amount of capital and time this industry is putting into software right now, that really jumped out at me at the show.
Yeah, and to go along with that, so you'll see a change in our software coming down the pipe here. We've just kind of rebranded our software. It's no longer called the WMS. It's now it's just called the HAI IQ WES. And what it's done is it's enabled us to be more stable, lighter, and do more things and have more features that our customers have been asking for. It allows us to integrate better with our partners and their software and our clients. So that's a big piece that's on our roadmap that's actually being implemented now. So we're already constantly improving that, going along with the same theme of all those cool software technologies that are out there. Because, I think, we've all been in the industry long enough. It's back 20 years ago, it was all about the hardware. 20 years later, it's all about the software. It's, the hardware is there. Everyone's smart. Everyone's going to make good things. But your software really is what differentiates you from your competition, right? It's what makes you better. It's what brings everything together. It's, to be fair, that's why you see so many companies like SVT coming out there. And we had some partners that were there with us too. You saw Coevolution, they were there. They kind of do the same thing, right? It's a big piece of this market. And I think the better your software, the better you're going to impact this entire industry, really. And that's kind of what we're doing with our software, is taking it to a very stable, very light, and very feature-rich software that can help us perform better.
We've used the term a lot, and Jordan will get this for sure. You have robot companies that have software, and you have software companies that have robots. One of the things that we were really attracted to you guys, especially go through the training, is you're a little bit of both, to where you don't have the ego where you have to do something specific. right? We can have this little bit of integration or all this control, which creates flexibility, which for my mind is a huge win from a software stack perspective, right? Because it takes that customer who wants to control everything and gives them the control they need while getting the advantage of the tech. And then if you have a customer who just, hey, I need you to do more work and help me out, I don't have that capability, now they take it on, or you guys take it on. So that's just all, brag about that all the time, guys. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, you'll see that in any number of our installations, right? You have that entire swath of installations, right? You have some controlling it themselves and us just controlling the traffic, and then all the way up to us controlling everything. So yeah, that's what we can do. And it's a big part of our offering, is being able to do that. I think that's what helps make us stand out as well, is not only our great hardware, but our great software.
But I think it also speaks to the fact that you're at the root of it, you're customer focused, right? You don't want to come in and tell somebody exactly what they need to do. You want to come in and recommend what you think is best for their operation, whether that be you guys fully supporting it from a software and robotic perspective, or it's a mixture of the two, right? But I think at the end of the day, there's definitely been a paradigm shift where everyone wants to have the standardized software, whether it be at the WMS level or WCS level. So you hit on something earlier around making integration easier that I think will speak to a lot of people, because that's been one of the biggest elements. I mean, it's why SVT was born, right? I know we brought them up, is to provide that standardized integration. So, but I think once again, what you guys are there to do is you're there to solve a problem. You can solve a whole bunch of different problems, but you also don't need to force fit a specific solution into a problem if it's not the right solution. And you guys are self-aware of that. And you've really created a company that I think you should pride yourself on, that gives you the ability to really go in, and every solution's a little bit different, all with the same kind of root technology at it, but it's all going to be what we collectively feel is the best solution for that individual problem.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's a fine line. You try to balance, customization and configuration versus standardization and products, right? And if we go 100% product and standardized, well, that sure makes our life really easy, right? But now the customer and our partners have to bend over backward to fit our mold. And yeah, we can probably save some internal expenses and some internal headaches, but it's not what's best for the customer. And at the end of the day, I do think that's what's most important, and that's how you last in this industry. We've seen a lot of companies say my way or the highway, and some of them make it because they're tech or they're so big, whatever it may be. But we just operate with a slightly different philosophy. And so, if customers are telling us they want us to take it on because they don't want to deal with it, great. If they prefer control, well, that's fine too.
Right. But I think that's unique, right? I mean, I think a lot of people are scared to give people that level of control because they don't know how their system may react to it. But you guys have done it, you've seen it, you understand it, and you've put the right resource. I mean, you just said 50 people domestically across all aspects, and you did that to position yourselves to really handle any type of issue that comes along.
Well, and if you're confident in your technology, and if at its core it's truly flexible, then you really shouldn't be afraid of allowing others to make decisions around how it's operated. I always put your money where your mouth is. People ask all the time, well, if you give up inventory control, how can you guarantee rate? Because if someone else's slotting or SKU allocation is poor, we can help coach them there. We have the diagnostics within our system and in our fleet manager to be able to recognize what's going wrong and why we may have a rate issue. Also, you can just add more bots if you have to. And being a customer-friendly partner or a company, we're going to do that, with minimal pain to them. And so, like I always say, we'll take the Pepsi challenge against anyone. Just give us the opportunity, and we'll go for it.
Yeah, I think that's
real quick too. You do it at a fair price too. You don't do it. It's not. You have a premium product at a fair price. I think that's important, guys, to note. When you're competing in this market that we know pretty well, we are great to go to bat with you guys. And we're like, hey, we feel confident the ROI is really going to be there because it's truly a whole product, and it's not a bunch of bells and whistles and very constrained. And you have a premium product at a very fair price. And don't shortchange yourselves on that. You've done a great job with that.
Oh, we appreciate it.
Yeah, I think one of the other things I wanted to hit on too is, risk. There's actually two things I want to hit on. Risk is always there, right? But I think what Brian said really well is we are there to coach. We're there to help. We're a good partner to our partners, right? So we can help you through the process just like you can help us through the process. But we're willing to have those conversations with you. One of the things that I've heard recently is in the market, we're actually very, very much ahead of our competition when it comes to things like training. and support, being able to do things that a lot of people that have been in this industry for much longer, even in the U.S., right? So we can do that. We can provide, really robust SLAs. We have support. We have trainings. We have any number of things along the entire cycle of the project that gets you to a good end. Even with that risk existing, we can still get you there.
I think it's a testament to that. We've gotten some documentation from you guys, and I've asked some of the people on Brian's team. I've been like, hey, where would I? Can you help me answer this question? Can you help me answer this question? And they can, but they can also say, well, if you look in the document we sent that's listed here, you'll see it. It's on page 14, and it's like everything is put together. From an integrator's point of view, it is so refreshing to have all of that documentation. You guys also hosted us for a training, which we were very thankful of, that went through an in-depth training more so around the robotics and the applications, and to learn more about that. But I agree with you 100%. You guys are absolutely buttoned up. Documentation's there. It makes our lives a lot easier and our customers' lives a lot easier.
Can I tell a funny story on that real quick? I'll make it short.
Sure.
So when I joined the company, I think we were about 20 people then. That was about 15 months ago. And the first thing I noticed was that I thought in the US we were underdeveloped in Chris's side of the business. We had some project managers. We had really no support plan at all. A lot of our documentation was in Chinese. And so I put a plan and investment request together for HQ that said, hey, we have to build all this out like right now. We need to hire a VP of implementation. We need to get directors under him. We need people. We need structure. We need process. And it had a sizable 7-figure price tag on it. And our CEO said, well, no, we're going to do that. But do you think we should win some projects first? And I said, absolutely not. We've got to do this before we win the projects. And I think I've been with the company like 2 months, and he was like, who the hell is this guy that we just hired asking me for more money that's not even under his business? Hey, sales guy, go sell something. Shut up. But to their credit, they listened and they did it. And that's something that I think a lot of folks in the early stages of their company, right? If you look it up, you can see where our investment milestones have been. It's pretty easy to keep all that at home base. They just dumped it into the US and said, okay, not here's a blank check, but tell me why you're doing it, but we're going to give you guys whatever you need to succeed. And I think kind of that proactive approach is paying dividends now because we have won some projects. We've got some implementations going on, and we have strong leadership, good experience, and good infrastructure to rely on versus just kind of chasing our tails and calling HQ every day. So,
right.
Yeah,
credit to them.
The side of that is integrators bringing product to market with nothing developed. We very much appreciate some of the pain you have saved, especially those of the explained market as implementation. And I think Jordan and Jimmy know exactly what I'm talking about. It was absolutely good people, painful process, dragging them along, asking questions. If we have to answer the customers are going to have your system in-house.
Yeah, and we're not perfect, right? There's going to be hiccups along the way, but at least we're trying. And we recognize how important it is, not just to sell, but to execute. And so, Chris has done a phenomenal job building that team, and I'm excited to watch him kind of show off a little bit this year in the field.
I appreciate that. Yeah, Brian's done a great job too. And so I think we're two sides of the coin.
I feel like I need to come here and hug both of you.
Yeah, aren't implementation and sales supposed to be butting heads left and right?
Acting with sales and implementations are like buddying up on a call because we
actually agree with each other. How about that? To go along with that too, and not to belay the point here and keep going, but I think I saw a headline after ProMat, and one of the headlines said ASRS with an AMR attitude, right? And I think that's what we are. It's a fantastic headline. It's got to go on a T-shirt someday, right?
Right.
I think it hits us perfectly. We're a global company, but we also have a U.S. identity, right? So we are creating a U.S. identity that gives us that attitude in the U.S. in order to be a part of the community and be someone that they can trust and say, okay, while we have some reservations, you still are here. And you're bringing the attitude and you're bringing what we need to the market. And I think that's a really big thing for us. We're ready.
That's awesome, man. And you brought up some of your teams. So we met with Richie about this time last year. I guess Richie Chin, he's a founder, CEO, and just I'd called out some of your other people on the team, but this is what it's all about. We've said it multiple times. Like, hardware is great. You can sell anything. It's how you deliver. It's how you execute, and it's the experience that people have, which is plugging a little of ours. That's our gig, right? On our vision is like we want to give that memorable experience, but it's got to be intelligent change as well. So it's balancing both sides of those. But you all have got I don't know, we've met anybody that hadn't been just a rock star. So we've got Becca, your all's marketing. I don't know Becca's official title, but
Director
does a great
of marketing.
job.
Yeah.
What is it?
Director of marketing, just super rock star, whatever
Absolutely.
you want to call her. Yeah, she's the best.
You got Sean, it's Brixie, that's working under your team. You got Kyle, you got Will. We met some of the other team. It's just like that's what makes it all go.
Brag on Muhammad, answering customer questions right on the spot, knows every detail. You know, especially you guys are well aware of that project we're working on together. Very soon, it's going to come to fruition, and just getting that comfort level with the tech stack is it's awesome.
Yeah, well, I think. Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
I wanted to. You guys have been awful complimentary of us. You mentioned Richie. So in the Asia Pacific market, integration is not a big thing. And so out of those, 400, 500 projects I mentioned, probably 350 of them are direct, just because that's how the company developed. And so in addition to asking for several $1 million in my first month, I also said, hey, we're going to change our business model and go through, value-added partners. And they're like, you're insane. I was like, get over here and meet some of them. Yeah. And he just raves about you guys, loves the intelligence, the collective experience. I get asked all the time, how are the Zion guys doing? What are they up to? When's our next project with them? It's, how can we market together? And so I think kind of the value that you guys provide that, I don't want to use the word warm, but it's less transactional with you. I think that was such a breath of fresh air to our folks at HQ, where everything is very regimented and documented. This was just a different way to do business. And I think, Richie's coming back over in a couple of months. And one of the first things he says was, well, let's get a face-to-face with the Zion team again. I want to run that back. And it's like, absolutely. Yeah. It's a good way to work. And if you're going to do this for a couple of decades, you better find some people you enjoy doing it with. That's
right. Yeah. It's certainly not trend. We use that statement a lot. So we're not interested in transactional type relationships. We want it's a partnership, and that's what we strive for. Well, our listeners have probably heard like these guys just pre-scripted all this. They're just loving each other, hugging each other. But this is raw, everybody. So if you made it this far, they were supposed to be done about 25 minutes ago. But this is how we do, and it's great because this is the thing I like about the podcast too, is because you never know. It might go one direction, and this is just us talking. This is just said it multiple times, chopping it up, but really enjoyed the conversation. Do you all have, I got two more things. We might end this with a question of both of you all, if y'all want to play along, or you might be like, nope, done. Do you got any roadmap? You talked about high IQ, if I can talk. Is there any other roadmap items you want to share, or just stay tuned?
Yeah, so I hit on the Flex With one, so that's a big one that's coming, right? So you're going to see that.
Got it. Thanks, Chris. Saved me there, brother.
Yeah, that's the big one. So you have the software we talked about that is going on now. The roadmap on that is pretty robust. We're going to be adding more and more features through the whole year. And then the Flex With, I think it's going to change the market yet again, right? So I don't know if you guys saw that Innovation Award ceremony and how much we all jumped up and ran up to the stage way ahead of when we were supposed to. But I'm hoping something like that happens again because it was a great thing. And I think this Flex With is one of those things that can do that, right? It's another innovation to a great product that really changes things for us. So I think those two things on the roadmap are ones that I like to hit on. I don't know if Brian has anything he want to hit on that, but those are the two big ones for me.
We got to keep some things behind the curtain, but I'll just Modex 24. We'll see y'all in Atlanta.
That's awesome. That's good. Yeah. We can say roadmap wise, we're like we got verbals. We're gonna be sharing. We're excited. We're out of respect for some of our customers. We've kind of got to wait, right? But just watch, and if you're listening, just keep up with us, and we're looking forward to that. So all right. something new. We're trying a little end of the podcast. Every podcast has something. You ask a question. I gave you a choice of 3. So did you all look at the questions? Do any of the questions want to stand out? Y'all can pick any of the 3. I'll read the 3, and then Brian's done all the talking, so he said he wasn't going to.
Yeah, no, I did answer one of
them. I need to see the mechanical engineering degree somewhere just to validate this. He's got it. I'm sure he's got it in there. So Chris, you're gonna start, but just questions. We like to have fun over here, probably too much sometimes, and some of the people that have already been in this industry 2 or 3 decades, or their nose might be a little bit in the air, and they're like, well, what are those guys doing? But we have fun. We're going to continue to have fun, and it's just friends having fun. Serious when you need to be, business when you need to be. So first question, favorite adventure? It can be whatever, past, present, future. Favorite national or state park? I'm a national park guy. You all know that. And then or the last one would be favorite charity or pay it forward idea. So any of the 3. Chris?
Yeah, I think for me, I actually combined your first and second one to adventures and state parks. So I know you guys are a big state park thing. I see a lot of those in your LinkedIn. For me, 2017, we took a family trip. We flew to LA. There was 4 of us. It was my wife and I and 2 of my children. I do have 4, but it was 2 of them. One was in the Army at the time, so he couldn't go. And my 4th one wasn't born yet. So it was just 2 of us at the time. But anyway, we flew to LA. We saw Hollywood. We saw anything you could see in the LA area. And then we took a drive straight east to Death Valley. We drove through Death Valley, saw everything you could see in Death Valley, even took the kids to Vegas for one night just so they could say, oh, look at the lights, but you can't do anything else. Let's go. And then we went to, we saw the Joshua Tree Forest. We went down to Phoenix. My son and I played golf at TPC Scottsdale because my favorite thing to do is golf anywhere I can. It was 127 degrees that day. We were the only 2 people on that golf course, but at least we were playing golf.
That's right.
So after that, we drove up to see Meteor Crater, Grand Canyon. Then we went to the Four Corners, Monument Valley. We saw the Arches National Park, and then we drove straight east into Denver. And that was one of the most amazing trips I've been on. I don't know how many people have done just the Southwest trip like that, but personally for me, highly recommend it. Beautiful, beautiful country. So that's my adventure and my favorite trip.
That's awesome, man. I did that we did 38 days, 10,000 miles with my kiddos last year. I got 4 as well. And
wow.
we all packed in a little 32, 33 foot Class C RV, and it was awesome.
Nice.
Great time. So we hit every one of those, except I got the Meteor Crater at closing time. I'd already been there, didn't get to see it, but absolutely, I didn't play golf because you all don't want to see me play golf, but everything else, we did that on the back end of the trip last year. It's amazing. Right. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, so Brian, I hear there's Zion and HAI golf trip coming up soon, I think is what I heard.
Hey, you got some golfers like Jordan.
That's right.
Jordan I called him last night because we have 0 set business hours. So it's 7:00. Jordan's watching the 3 kids. Rowan's in the little playpen. Harper's in there. His oldest daughter's playing with Rowan. Levi's staring at me on the team's video call because I'm trying to build something in Salesforce that I shouldn't be in the middle of building. And we, I just completely lost my train of thought. No, that's what golf. Jordan was like, yeah, hey, I'm ahead of you all. I did a team building event yesterday. I said, yeah, really? And he said, yeah. I took a couple guys out golfing. I said, okay. So that's why I couldn't get over in the afternoon. But, yeah. So, anyway, Brian, you're up, brother. You can answer any of the 3 or make your own up. I don't care. Favorite book.
No, I would say adventure. I got to go to Rio de Janeiro as part of my MBA program, and it was meant to be you go to businesses and learn about them and talk about what you're doing in school, but it just turned into a 10-day party for all of us.
That's awesome.
But we went hang gliding, and so you get strapped in with a guy. Like there's no certification. It's a guy with a hang glider, and then you just jump off a cliff. And I remember we're running to the edge, and I was like, this is really unsafe. Like I should have checked the little clip or something. But we came down onto Ipanema Beach, and it was you look back up the cliff and you're like, that was stupid. But still, probably one of my favorite adventures. That was a lot of fun.
Got to see Christ the Redeemer. I share a place, a park, something every Sunday. I usually try. I went through the whole national park, most of them last year.
I think I commented on that one.
I did Christ the Redeemer. I haven't been there. Definitely want to go see it, and definitely want to see Rio.
When we went, I'm a big Bengals fan. I didn't know what we were doing that day. I just threw on a T-shirt, and we get into the van, and they said, "Hey, we're going to go see Christ the Redeemer." And I looked down, and my T-shirt said, "The Pittsburgh Steelers suck." And so every picture of me with one of the 7 wonders of the world, I'm wearing a T-shirt that says, "The Pittsburgh Steelers suck."
And you wouldn't change a thing, right? Keep that shirt
honestly,
on. Wear it proud.
It's been on a bunch of like Cincinnati Bengals blogs. I think it was in the Cincy Inquirer. It's actually kind of funny. It's out there if you look for it. Yeah.
It's great. Well, guys, I've really enjoyed it. I know we called a little bit of an audible, so Jacob's just there in the background paying attention to us. I think we're going to wrap it up. We're at almost an hour, and just thank you both. Thank your team. Congratulations. Closing thoughts, anybody? We'll wrap this up. We'll do another take. Jordan and Drew, we'll get our Zion thoughts of ProMat, and nobody's going to watch us for an hour and a half, I don't think. So we're going to have to chop. We're going to have to break that up a little bit. But any closing thoughts?
No, I mean, for me, I just, thank you for the time, the opportunity to both be on this and also to work with you guys. I hear there's like $1 billion in the pipeline for you guys, for us, right? That's what I heard, right? But no, I'm just kidding. So, no, I really appreciate you guys giving this opportunity to us. It means a lot to us, and I think that it's going to be a very good partnership. Looking forward to many, many years together.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, guys. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all very much.
Thanks for the time, guys.
All right. That was great, guys.
Yeah.